Hi everybody, how you doing? This is Tracing Roots and Telling Tales Tuesdays, Genealogy with Donna, episode 47. Can't believe I've been doing this for a long time. 1.5 years? Yeah, about that. Okay, the first time you get it wrong. There will be mistakes, there will be misreads, and you need to understand that this is going to happen. Every genealogist makes incorrect assumptions early on. We all start with enthusiasm, not experience. Early trees are built on hints, family stories, and hope. Mistakes aren't failure. They're part of learning the language of the records. A lot of times, I'm part of several genealogy groups, and a lot of times they'll take a screenshot of the document they're looking at, and it's in cursive, so I am terrified for younger generations that have never learned cursive, weren't taught cursive, can't read cursive, and how they're going to interpret documents. I mean, it's a scary thought. And the handwriting was unique to the individual, though they were all taught, those that had education, that were taught the way to write. And, I'm old enough, you make the E this way, and you did a whole page of E's, do E's for the whole line, do capital E's, do lowercase e's, and you'd go page after page through the whole alphabet, and you'd do that. Well, when you go to look at the document, it might be faded, it was ink, might have been pencil, but I believe it was all in ink, and the ink might have faded, or the way they wrote was not consistent with what you are able to read. And so they will screenshot it and then ask the consensus of people for what does it say. Now, there's also what does it mean. There are classifications of jobs that don't exist any longer and weren't necessarily named by what we would commonly name it. So it's learning. It's just learning. Being a genealogist is learning. You can take a class in it, and you're still going to come across situations that aren't taught. They just are in the moment. So even professional genealogists revisit and revise their work. Krista McKeown with Ancestry.com is always going back over, and she does have several elusive relatives and brick walls that she's still going through, and she's a professional genealogist, so that happens. If you watch Tracing Your Roots with Henry Gates, Cece is there. I mean, even the police have used it for DNA matching. She's an expert, and even she has trouble at times. So getting it wrong doesn't mean you're bad at it. It just means you're learning. I mean, you keep failing until you succeed. I mean, that's basically what it is. Why close enough names can cause a big error. Here we go. So cats, Kate, cats, Kates, all sounds alike. Johnston instead of Johnson, sounds alike. Here's one in my own family tree, Archambault. The R-sham part is not bad. The bow, B-E-A, mine's B-A-U-L-T. There's B-E-A-U-L-T. And God knows in French what it would be also. So that's just the Canadians. Similar names, spellings, nicknames, and initials are everywhere. So if the neighbor next door, and this happened in the 20s and 30s, people weren't home. Hi, Rena, how you doing? People weren't home, so the next door neighbor was basically where the census taker got the information. Well, that was Rusty. Well, his name was Brian. Well, they didn't put Brian down because nobody knew it was Brian. He'd been called Rusty all his life. Why? Oh, he had red hair. Okay, well, that's how that works. So if he lived longer in life and then they used regular names, you might think Rusty and Brian are two different people. But you find a birth certificate. A perfect example. Mike's dad, Kurt LaNorman little, he thought his name was Kurt Norman. Curtis Norman. He went to get his birth certificate, and he came back. It was La Norman. They dropped the La when his mom yelled at him because it was easier to say Curtis Norman. So, and it was harsher, and it, you know how that goes. So he didn't even know until he was, gosh, he was in late 70s when he realized his name was La Norman. So it happens everywhere. Same name individuals that often live in the same place at the same time. I have examples of it in my own family. Mary and Martha. Mary's the mother, Martha's the child. Martha has a child and names it Mary. So now Mary's grandmother is named Mary. Goes on and on and on and on and on. One unchecked assumption can attach the wrong parents, the wrong spouse, and the wrong children. So you will come, I've had this happen to me. You'll come across and go, oh, why did I put that in there? That's not the right person. But the documents, when you look at it, it's in the same county. It wasn't necessarily in the same street, but it was rural. So there weren't streets. So that's how that works. So I encourage you to slow down and confirm with multiple records, not one. But if multiple records aren't available, you're going to go with what you've got. But you can put notes in there that you're not sure and you'd like more documentation, more sourcing to find out. Putting notes to yourself in your tree is a perfect example. Learning to go with pet theories. We all fall in love with a theory. The problem comes when we start bending evidence to fit the theory. You're a detective, you're trying to find a suspect, and you don't take the evidence and make it a different suspect. Letting go feels personal, but it's actually progress. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it personally when what you did or what you found wasn't what was right for you and your tree. Being willing to change your mind is a sign of a good researcher. So the tree isn't about proving we're right. It's about telling the truth. What mistakes actually teach us about records? Errors force us to read records more carefully. They teach us about context, time, and geography. Mistakes reveal patterns we might have missed otherwise. And every correction deepens our understanding, and frankly, it gives more concrete, more foundation to that tree that you're building. And mistakes don't erase your work, they refine your work. So why correction is part of honoring ancestors. Our ancestors deserve accuracy, not convenience, and correcting errors restores their true story. So, real talk, correcting mistake isn't admitting failure. It's choosing integrity. Every time we fix an error, we get closer to the truth of someone's life. And isn't that why we're doing this? The truth of their lives? And that truth matters because there weren't just names on paper. They were people. Please keep that in mind. I know it's so easy to, go to the cemetery and it's got a birth date and a death date. And maybe it says, beloved mother, daughter, wife, might say that. But they were people to the people around them. And then if you ever discovered a mistake in your research, know this, you are not alone. Goodness sakes, I had several. That moment is the end of the story. It's actually the beginning of a better one. It actually opens the door to more opportunity to get it right and to actually move up that tree limb with another branch. It grows the tree. Next week, we're going to dig because the more we learn, the more clearly our ancestors come into focus. So please keep that in mind. You really want to flesh them out. You don't want them just to be names on a tree. You want to know about them, the time they lived in, what their lives might have been like, and what they were up against. My question to myself always is, could I have made a good pioneer? Could I have survived the crossing from Springfield, Missouri to Oregon or to Washington or to California? Or stopping in between, Wyoming, Colorado. Could I have done that? Could I have survived? Could I have been good at it with a bit of learning and experience? Also, I wanted to let you know that Google, I have it right here on my calendar, Google is providing a cheat sheet Go on to Google, look for Genealogy Cheat Sheet. It's a 8 by 10 or 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You can start your tree on that, and it delves deeper into what questions you can ask. Now, the trick is, can you find the answers? Anyway, take care. It was good to see you, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.